5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, wherever you are. Me and Mike Tyson below me, ready to take you through the weekends of footy. Sloppy seconds for me, but then the story of my life, everything I do is sloppy. I don't know how I managed to get 4 kids, to be honest with you, but we won't go into that. Welcome along. It is extra time. If you are watching us, join in with the chat. Your details will come up in the bottom right as you post them. Just keep them respectful. If you're watching on catch up, thank you very much. And both of those, like, share, and subscribe is what the meaning of the show is. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, as always, thank you for lending me your ears. It's been a busy day in the old footballing world, Tom.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on outside of the championship, hasn't there, Chris? But first, let me apologise for the building site I'm sat in tonight, because my house is having renovations, everyone. So it looks a little bit more, cluttered than usual. But we'll get back to the right thing, Chris?
You didn't come home tonight in a boat, did you?
No. I think I'll have a bit more luxury than that, possibly.
I think you would, actually, wouldn't you?
I've paid for this on my own. It's the amount of bills and the taxation nowadays, isn't it, in the world we all face, my friend?
Well, some of us do. Let me put it that way, But let's not get political. It's going to take us to the wrong place if we do. Management news. It seems managers that don't want to come to Leicester have struggled recently. Potter was sacked, as was Russell Martin. And then they're being replaced or they're getting jobs at, elsewhere, managers that we turned down. Danny Roll, first of all, has gone to Rangers. I have to say that smacks to me of he just wants an easy life, and he'll know that he's going to probably, if he gets it right, get at least top 3.
Yeah, a little bit of that, isn't there? I mean, I think the thing is they already spoke before, Chris, didn't they? And Rangers kind of decided when they spoke to him not to give him the opportunity to go down the Kevin Muscat route, I believe, which hasn't worked out either. So it's interesting to me how, we look at Leicester sometimes and we go, what is our long-term vision and plan for managerial appointments? We compare ourselves to Brighton, perhaps, who always seem to have a plan in place for who's coming along next. I look at Rangers and go, right now, and look at Celtic even with the problems they've got off the pitch and go, this is a great opportunity for Hearts to win the SPL, isn't it? Because it's been chaos everywhere.
Yeah, no, it totally is. And look, I don't have much of a hatred for Brendan because he was good. I mean, he just didn't get the backing towards the end, which wasn't his fault. Let's be honest. We know that he'd gone out and offered positions to people and then had to go back and went, sorry, got no money. But it's not his fault what's going on at Celtic. It's off, like with Leicester, it's off the field.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, the interesting thing about it is there's a little bit of crossover for me because when you get back to Leicester and where we started to probably falter a little bit, Brendan was asking for more money, but I'd also argue the money he'd invested the year before probably wasn't wise. frankly. And you can look at Celtic and go like, okay, at their top end of what they are capable of doing, financially, they're probably in a similar boat to us, if not slightly less. So I kind of get where the Celtic board is coming from. I kind of think you've got to make the most out of little for the Celtic situation, despite their position, because they're in the SPL. They're not in the English game, are they, Chris?
No, they're not. But you don't know when you buy a player whether he's going to be good or not. So, in fairness to Brendan, with hindsight, we can turn around and go, well, that was a crap signing. Vestergaard maybe wasn't as crap as we thought he was at the time. But you know what I'm saying? So, we know that we needed a rebuild. And had he been given a rebuild, who knows? We will never know. But Danny Roll, I mean, he's been offered allegedly, or he's been approached by a couple of German clubs, and he turned them down. And I would say, it just smacks to me of, if that's your level, Danny, then maybe I'm glad we didn't get you.
Yeah, it's also maybe the experience here at Sheffield Wednesday where, like, you know, we can't really understand what managers are being told by the owners as well, can we? And I think at Sheffield Wednesday, he was trying to make the best of an interesting situation. He didn't want certain staff working with him as well. I imagine with Rangers, he's kind of said, this is what I've learned from that situation, right? And perhaps he said that at every club, Chris, but actually he's had to now concede on himself a little bit, like you say, which makes the situation look a little bit interesting.
Indeed, and I'm can I just say, if anybody wants to know, I'm not being sponsored on how many times I say indeed. But
indeed, he's left now, Chris. We've got to get over this.
I know. I need to move on, don't I? But again, when he's been through what he's been through at Sheffield Wednesday, it is a case of out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is with Rangers, though, you know, in a similar way to Sheffield Wednesday, I guess. But I think with Rangers, it's like the opportunity to really be the second best team in the league by default, almost, isn't it? Yeah. Irrelevant of where you are. There's going to be a European football involved in that, which I think attracts a lot of managers, doesn't it? Which you're not going to get with Sheffield Wednesday. Excuse me. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, a big cough came along then. But yes, you know, and the other German clubs he was linked to, perhaps, you know. So I think with that, there is enough attraction there with their fan base as well to think if you do a good job of it, it puts you also in a good frame to get yourself to the next level of management as well, right?
No, I do get that. Graham Potter, Harry Potter, he's Sweden coach.
I know, right? Well, he's had a lot of history in Sweden with clubs when he was coming up through the, you know, the lower leagues, isn't it? But it's an interesting change here, and I do wonder for Potter if that isn't a bad move actually, because it seems to me that he's had a few problems in his last couple of jobs, and kind of when it comes to building a team, really. And I kind of think if it's a team that is he's going to have to choose from in an international setting, maybe that'll almost refresh his management style a bit. I mean, he can focus more on what is my strategy and my tactics going to be. So I actually think while it's a bit left field, it might not be such a daftest move as it looks, really.
No, I actually look at that and I actually thinking, like, wise decision, because he built his success in Sweden, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
You know, and he got teams into Europe and what have you. So fair play to him with that one. I can understand, and I think it's not a bad move for him.
They got some good young players as well, like Isaac, for example. Obviously, I know he's not performing well right now, but they got some good young players there that he can probably think I can look at and make better, right? So, you know, I think from that perspective, it is an opportunity for him to restore what maybe is a lack of faith in him now after a couple of bad jobs.
Yes, exactly. And of course, the other one is, depending whether you read it, he's actually already had a meeting. Sean Dyche to Forest.
Yeah, which is interesting because obviously he lives in Nottinghamshire, doesn't he? I mean, there was a picture of Forest fans seeing him the other day and, you know, giving him high fives and all the rest of it. But I'll say this about that. It probably is a refreshing move in the right direction because of the fact that he's a bit more like a Nuno. He's going to be able to play with two big centre-backs who are more physical rather than pacey. He's not going to play a high-line system like Ange was going to, right? So I think in this time, okay, they got it wrong last time. Now it's a case of they probably realise they've got to keep themselves in the division and they've got a budget to do that with, right? It cost them £7 million to get rid of him, Chris, when you think of PSR as well. So, yeah, I think actually, with that being said, it's probably the astute move and the more conservative but positively minded move.
Yes, indeed.
Mhm.
So we will make. I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, if ever we think like, oh shit, what's going on at Leicester? Just have a look at Nottingham Forest at the moment because they are imploding.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because like you look at teams like Sunderland, for example, everyone expected them to be down at the bottom of the league at this point, and they've added the pressure to these teams, haven't they? Because
Yeah,
the thing with it as well is they've got European football Forest, so it's not as if they're going to go into every Premier League game fresh. So they've got a double battle going on now, and you kind of need to at least be mid-table at this point in order to, ensure your survival. So yeah, I think they've got a big challenge on this. So I do wonder if the Dyche appointment is quite clever in hindsight to try and really just reinforce that back defensive line and make sure they can keep themselves in the division while having a European run.
yeah, no, and again, that would. Hi Wayne, how you doing? That would make sense as well of where Forest are at the moment. It's very much like a Steve Cooper type of position. I mean, look, they went from relegation favourites to just staying up, even with the points deduction. Fair play to them. To European football, wasn't Champions League. In fact, it was conference until Paris got kicked out of that. Then of the Europa, and they got promoted. So yeah, I can see all that. The big news is though. Big news is, and I can't believe I'm reading this, but old Norbert could be coming back.
Right, what have you read here? Because I don't understand what this reference even means, Chris. Please enlighten me.
Okay, Norbert is Jurgen Klopp's middle name.
Oh, I did see this. I watched the whole interview. Okay, right. Okay, so you think he's going back to Liverpool?
Well, I don't. I've got to say, I was watching TikTok earlier while I was. To me, TikTok is the new newspaper on the toilet, and and I was watching, and it had the United stand on. Who's the guy that does the United shows?
Oh, is it Mark Goldbridge?
Mark Goldbridge, and he
Yeah.
was reading it out, and he was saying, "I don't believe this. This can't be real." And he was double checking, and he went, "Oh my god, it is." And then I've just had a look now, but apparently it says it is theoretically possible in a few years.
Yeah, well, what Jurgen was saying was in that interview, because I watched it all today, I thought it was a fascinating interview and more enlightening to the man. I tell you what, he's a top manager from how he, views the game, in my opinion. And he never mentioned the word boss. He always mentioned the word leader, which I really appreciate in managers, right? But what he basically said was like, he was burnt out. You can't just ask for a year off in football management, can you? It's either you're in the job or you're out of the job.
Yeah.
But he said, obviously, with a bit of a break like he's had now, would it entertain his thoughts again? Possibly. I don't think that means he's definitely going to do it. I don't think that means Liverpool should sack Slot today. But yeah, no, I think there is the possibility there.
After yesterday's result, the natives are getting restless.
Yeah, which is daft, really, isn't it, though? Because, I mean, it's a transitional period. They've had a lot of players coming. I know they spent a lot of money, but spending a lot of money doesn't mean these players are going to perform straight away, right? I mean, You've got to give them time. You've got to give them time.
You have indeed.
And let Bournemouth win the league.
Please but just take notice of that, Leicester City fans. Anyway, Diary of a CEO. I tried listening to that once, and it was about as interesting as watching an NFL game. I really didn't get it, Wayne. It really wasn't. Hi, Jim, if you're watching. Right, let's go on to. Middle of the matches this weekend. We're back to a one-game weekend, although obviously we are playing tomorrow night. I don't know. I mean, I actually watched a lot of this match, Middlesbrough-Ipswich, and it started off a bit like a game of chess, and as Wayne would say, it ended up like suicide chess, although he always means cricket, of course. I mean, what a game! And I got it completely wrong, as I do with all my predictions, because I went 2-1 to Ipswich.
I think so did I, Chris, as well. I think we're on the same page there, mate.
I mean, it was a surprise, but now just keep this in mind, because having watched Middlesbrough, who have been top a lot of the season, obviously Coventry are there at the moment, Middlesbrough's last game, they lost to Portsmouth.
Yeah, isn't that show you what the Championship is like, though? It's so...
To me, it also shows to those people that say, these are teams we should be beating. Yeah. Portsmouth have just beaten Middlesbrough, who had been top of the table for sort of 7 odd weeks on the run. Why should we be, what gives us the God-given right to beat them?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, exactly. But the funny thing is, go back to the game itself here, mate. I mean, you watched it. I mean, if Ipswich had scored that penalty, would we be sat here talking about an Ipswich win tonight? I mean, we're talking that fine a margin in this sort of game. I mean, Middlesbrough are undefeated at home so far, and I think a lot of that is their resilience to these sort of things, right? Because I think in every game, it's not been a 4-0 win, has it, for a Middlesbrough? It's been a 2-1. It's been a 1-0. It's been
get 3 points.
Well, exactly. But my point is that these games are remarkably tight, So yeah, and the penalty miss, I think, made a massive difference in this. But also, Rob Edwards needs some a bit of a boost for his tactics here, because he is doing what a lot of the teams are doing at the top, which is the 4-2-3-1. However, he has a 3-4-3 in his system as well, so he can shift it to that. When they do the 3-4-3. I wonder if that's the edge they get, mate, which normally takes them into winning these games, to make them different from the Portsmouths, from the Leicesters right now, to keep them at the top of the league.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue with that. Try not to say indeed, you see. But I thought Middlesbrough on the night. All right, yeah, Ipswich missed the penalty, and we know, on those sort of decisions changes the course of the game. But I have to say, ex-Leicester player George Hurst missing the penalty wasn't a brilliant penalty by any stretch of the imagination. Fair play to Middlesbrough, 2-1 and top of the league. Do you see them finishing there? Or in the top?
No, I see them finishing in the playoffs, because I think ultimately it's a long, long season, and we've seen this many times in the Championship before, in that there's a lot of opportunity for teams to catch up, especially post-January, right? I've said this about the transfer window coming up. I mean, there's clubs that have got some money that will probably go out there and spend, including teams down towards the bottom of the league, like Sheffield United, for example, who are rebuilding under Wilder. And then you've got obviously like the Birminghams, even the Wrexhams, maybe they got some more money in there. I mean, I doubt they will really contest the top 6, but it will still shake things up enough for me. And obviously Middlesbrough have been quite free of injuries and all the rest of it as well. Whittaker's been fit the whole time. Whenever he's been injured for them, it's been a problem. And they're also going to get players, or clubs coming in for their best players, and it's the top of the league, aren't they? So there's a lot of things to move yet. But I think credit to them, because out of all the teams in the division so far, I think Middlesbrough have really hit the ground as best as any other team has in this division.
Just laughing at not at you, what I've just got up on the other screen. I've just gone on to AI predicted tables to see what the prediction. And this one, AI predicts all 3 tables. But the Championship, they've got in first place Southampton.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, in second place Ipswich. In third, Sheffield United.
Friggin' hell.
Fourth, Birmingham, and fifth, Leicester. At the bottom, Charlton bottom. Yeah, right. Oxford, okay. And then Portsmouth in the bottom 3. So, yeah, I'm just going to see if I can get Xtra up, actually, because interesting, I know it's early days yet, but this is why we love doing these shows. Whether they actually... right. Yeah, what I like about Xtra is they actually now give a actual table, an expected table, and a predicted table.
Okay.
Interestingly, on the expected table, Middlesbrough are
down the league, because you're looking for a long time there.
No, it confused me. Right, this was updated 15 hours ago. In the expected, Middlesbrough are 6th.
Yeah, which is what I'd put them, about 6th, yeah.
Yeah. In the predicted, 2nd.
Interesting. So it shows the variance, doesn't it? But we're talking about variance, especially when the Championship has got one of the lowest conversion rates in probably most football leagues. I mean, it's about 10% of general average conversion for forwards, and that's why Coventry have got plus 27 odd goals, whatever it is.
Yeah. Interestingly, English Football League record broken with no home wins on the 30th of September. And I'm going back a bit there, but that's but no, not one home team won in the
Wow.
English Football League.
Wow, that is incredible. And there was also another one this weekend in the Championship, but I'll mention it when we get to that game, Chris.
Yeah. Next game there, Southampton 0, Swansea 0. I have said, and I still say, I can't see Will still being there. Certainly, come December, I think they'll be thinking they do change the manager. They want the new manager in before the window shuts or opens, I should say. Sorry. Oh, look, having said that, they're sat in 15th at the moment. They've actually got 12 points. They have got the most draws in the Premier League, so that's not us. We're second. They've got 6 draws and 2 wins. They're on 12 points, but they're not well. They're 5 points behind, and it can change very quickly. But I'd be interested to see. I mean, I think at the moment the Southampton board are saying, like I've just said, a bit early. Let's just see a couple of wins, and we can be up there. But if it doesn't happen, I can see action being taken.
Well, the interesting thing about Southampton is, when I was looking at this game in particular, is they're fast becoming a broken record in that they're dominating possession, and the games they play, they're kind of dominating generally as well, Chris, but they're not scoring. Which means that obviously they're in this position now where they've got X amount of, points, but they're kind of hanging into the bottom of the mid-table. But if they do win a couple of games here, I think Will Still's job will be utterly fine. But they don't seem to be able to find the back of the net, especially with someone like Armstrong up top. They probably should be. So as long as they can evolve from that, I think his job will be safe. But like you say, if it goes the other way, which it could do, and they lose a couple now, I think they're in a big month here, Southampton, of how it's going to go for them, right?
It's a busy month, this, isn't it? Despite the break. I mean, Swansea, computer says no, says Wayne. Swansea are starting 13th, 3 wins, 4 draws, just 1 point above them. Probably where I'd expect them to be, Swansea.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it to be slightly lower, actually. I think they've done very well. And I think the thing is, I think that they play a unique kind of football as well. And I think Sheehan's doing something a little bit different. And I think the fact he's managed to get a tune out of players that were written off last year, like, Vipnik, for example, up top, who scored something like 4 goals in 38 games and now has already doubled that tally in the game so far. I think there's a lot for them to be encouraged by so far, really. And I think they'll be quite happy getting a point away at Southampton, really, won't they? Because they'll back their home form, Chris. And they gave us a good game at their place, didn't they, as well?
They did. And Southampton are predicted to finish 10th. Swansea predicted to not finish in 10th. Swansea are predicted to 13th. Their finish. Now, normally you take these predictions with a pinch of salt, but if anybody's going to be good with the predictions, it's Opta.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing as well is, mate, I think the way the season's looking so far, if you look at the points disparity in the league, you're going to think if Swansea were in and around a shout of something at the end of the season, like a playoff place, 3 wins in a row, and any of these teams we're talking about now could get in the playoffs.
Exactly. And like I say, I'm not a huge fan of Will Still anyway, as you know. Go back to playing FIFA.
Manager.
Yeah, whatever it was that he played. Okay, so the next one up is Derby. Well, at home, Oxford United 1, Derby 0. Bit of a relegation battle, this one. It's moved Oxford up to 19th with 9 points. Derby are sat 1 point above the relegation zone on 8. I mean, John Eustace is sat above his old club Blackburn, 1 place below. I'm getting to thinking Derby going to have a struggle this year.
Yeah, and they really shouldn't be as well. I mean, they're now 5 games without a win, Chris, as well. I mean, I read some what the fans were saying, and they're questioning the design now of the players and also some poor tactical decisions from Eustace as well, because he used to play a 4-4-2 with 2 up top to try and give them an opportunity to score more goals. And he's kind of bottled it now, got 1 up top, and they're scoring even less, right? This was a relegation 6-pointer with where these clubs are, right? You know, for Derby, you've got to be looking at this and go, especially when you spent some money this window, you've got to be doing better. So, no, real disappointing result for them. And in fact, look at the players they got as well. They got Brewster, who was obviously a Sheffield United player, did really well. They got Brereton Diaz, a Chilean international. Yeah. They've got Sanderson, who did really well as a centre-back for Birmingham. And also, you know, he's quite competent at championship level, a really decent player. And they got a decent goalkeeper. And you think they probably should be doing better now, Derby. And that was a real destructive loss for them, in my opinion.
Where was Diaz at?
He's been everywhere. He was at Blackburn back in the day, wasn't he? But he's been at Sheffield United. He's been a lot of different clubs. Villarreal.
Has it? Wow. The older, more clubs than Tony Jacklin joke, you know.
Yeah, but similar to Burnley at Hull. Similar to Burnley at Hull, and he comes back and you think he might do something, right?
Sorry, Brentford nearly went 2-0 up at West Ham then. He hit the crossbar.
Wow.
They've already had one goal, their second goal disallowed, Brentford, because, of course, the striker had a hard-on, so it was offside. And that's how... No, I'm just... that's how close it was. You know what I mean? It
must be an impressive one for you to see it.
I wasn't looking. He
triggered the VAR, so he must be all right for himself.
Not that I'm jealous at all. Oxford United sat in 19th. Look, I know you've got a soft spot for Oxford. Yeah. I've got relatives there, but I'm not particularly soft spot for them. But to me, I think if you said to Oxford, this is how it will finish, and you're in 19th, I think they would take that.
Yeah, and I think there's no problem with that either, because they're working off a different budget to everyone else. I mean, it's only their second win of the season, this game, right? But it was a game they had to win. But I don't think there's any pressure on the manager. I think Rowett's actually doing a really good job there because they got limited funds. I think the players he brought in have improved the team. I think otherwise, if he hadn't improved the team, they would be bottom of the league by now. They really would, because you look at the team from last year, and he's got a couple of different tactics, you know, and you know, I think they've got to try something different. And I think the 4-4-2 they play a lot, it seems to be working for them. And they strike me as a team, Chris Oxford, and I'm a little bit biased as well, but a sort of team that is going to be very difficult, like we faced, and they got a point off us as well. And they're going to sort of drag points off teams. And, you know, it might not be enough, but I think it will keep them enough of a shout. Will it give them enough confidence to maybe go, we can stay up this year and then build from there, right?
I think they're a worse team. I mean, it is early days, I know, but I mean, you know, we've played, how many games? We've played 10 now.
Yeah, 10.
It's a fifth of the way through the season. So, you know, you think of it like that. But I think Gary Rowett's a good manager. And I think England, what am I saying? Bloody hell. It's been one. If anybody watched the show earlier, I was getting all the names wrong. I made Stephen the manager of Sweden, and I just got all over the place. So it's my flu jab. I will blame it on my flu jab. I've never had a flu jab inserted in me by a javelin before, but that's what it felt like. But no, I think Oxford. I think there's worse teams than Oxford. And I think if the board look at Gary Rowett and go, for what you've got, like you say, I think, you know, you've done all right. I think it's when he's thinking like, you know, well, why aren't we sort of in the top half? Well, because you're Oxford and you haven't got the budget, etc., etc. Yeah. And, you know, if they were to have owners like, say, Nottingham Forest, then they might get rid of Rowett. But predicted at the end of the season, Oxford 22nd, Derby 23. The thing I like about this is that it changes every week. The predictions change on whatever the results are. Wayne agrees with you. Oh, God. There you go.
I've got a soft spot for Oxford, though, Chris, and I really wish them well, as you know, apart from we play them the King Power.
Let me just see. I think I've got something for you two.
Oh, friend, football friend.
I'll take it. Wayne's my mate. I don't give two craps, mate. You can badger us as much as you want.
I love that. I've had it ages. I've been meaning to sort of upload it and use it.
We'll see that tomorrow night in the post-match, hopefully, if we both agree on something. Keep that in mind.
Exactly. It will get used. I'd got it on Saturday, but I just forgot to upload it. Right. Okay. QPR. 1, Millwall 2. We've got Millwall coming up, and probably, I'd say 50% of the Leicester fans are going, yeah, we should be beating Millwall. Yeah, they're sat in 6th, everybody. They've just beaten QPR, who were sat in 11th, so they're a top side. They're having a good start to the season, Millwall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Millwall is, I mean, don't forget, again, it's similar to Oxford. They're operated off a very small budget, Chris, aren't they? You know, and Alex Neil, again, deserves a lot of credit for that because he's built a team over many years now that is very resilient. And the interesting thing as well is he came after this game and said they didn't play well, even though they won. And I kind of look at that and go, wow, okay, so there's a standard there he is setting, which makes you think, what can this team do? The difference for Millwall today was, unlike other games where they've dropped points or lost recently, is that they took their chances. And how many times do we say in the championship, you take your chances, you're going to be in a good spot? Because QPR, it's their first home loss of the season. And they played really well, and they could have probably nicked a point at the end of it there as well. So they got the goal back with 5 minutes to go, and they probably should have got the equaliser as well. So I think it's one of those. It could have been a draw. It could have gone either way. But if Millwall keep going down this path of being quite clinical, like they showed, and Ivanovic getting a goal as well, obviously we were linked with, then who knows what they can do, because they've also got that fan base behind them, right?
Yeah. Jamie's back in. How do, mate? Been a while. I suppose you have been settling into Cremosa or wherever it is you are playing. But you are welcome back. Welcome back, sir. Glad you're following us even from over there in Italy.
Come back on loan in January, mate. We might need you.
We'll come on to that. Remember that point. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so, but look, Millwall, we're 4th, they're 6th. We've got 17 points. They've got 17 points. We've won 4. We've won 5. But there'll be those Leicester City fans that seem to not have, they have an IQ about the size of the shoe size, are going, we should be beating these teams. It's not necessarily going to be a difficult game on at the weekend. Predicted finishes. Let's have a look. Interesting. Millwall predicted to finish 6th. So they could meet a few interesting teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And QPR predicted to finish 11th, which is probably where you'd expect them to be.
Yeah, if you're Millwall, you'd expect them maybe to sell a player or two, because I think they are a selling club, right?
Yes, yeah. You're probably right there. Just sell us the striker, please. Mind you, we couldn't afford him, let's be honest with you.
Well, he's only scored for the first time this weekend, so maybe look elsewhere, Chris. But yeah.
Well, you can't win, can you?
No, true.
You buy a player that looks good and gets 4 goals in one game early into his career and never gets any more. Birmingham, down to 10 men. What a humdinger of a game this was. Birmingham 2, Hull City 1. Where did I go with this one?
No, Birmingham 2, Hull City 3, Chris.
Sorry, Birmingham 2, Hull City 3. Sorry.
That's
You're
all right.
quite right. I went 1-0 to Hull. So at least I got the result right, if not the got the outcome right, if not the result.
Yeah, I went for the draw, but obviously Hull won it in the 93rd minute, so I feel a little bit hard done by there. But but no, I mean, a basketball game of a match, Chris, is probably the surprise of the weekend, really, of all the games, wasn't it? And this was my statistic for you that was going to be the record breaker, like the one you made earlier. This is Birmingham's first loss at home since April 2024.
Wow,
that's a year and a half. Year and a half.
To them, yeah.
Yeah, so fair play to them, but Birmingham, mate, just go to them as the home team first here. They've got this position where the balance isn't quite right because they've got a decent squad there. They need to start scoring more, don't they? But every time they try and change it up and they try and be a bit more on the front foot, this is what happens. They lose, which is interesting. It's like their defence then completely folds on itself and they lose to a team like Hull, which is not really on their radar to be doing with the money they've invested. So I think Chris Davies might be coming under a bit of pressure here. And he called this result as well in the post-match a self-inflicted defeat.
Okay.
Which is interesting, isn't it, when you think of where they are? So I think there's a little bit of tension building there because they're quite down to 17th now, so...
Oh, yes, they are. Birmingham are 17th, whilst Hull City are in 10th.
Oh, God, yeah. Not looking forward to that tomorrow.
No, we see again. Leicester fans, no, we should be beating the likes of Hull. Really? They're only 2 points behind us.
Yeah, they're better than what we think they are. They're better than what we think. I mean, I've gone for the draw, but I'm in my back of my head. I'm thinking we might lose this one.
To be honest with you, it just winds me up that people suddenly think we're Barcelona
Mm.
and that we win every game.
We're coming up against teams, Chris, that have got a little bit more of a solid foundation than we have. That's what people don't seem to appreciate. Our foundation last year could be called anything but solid, and we still got a lot of people involved in that process, right? Whereas like Millwall, we mentioned a minute ago, that club's been there for two years doing that.
Sorry, good news. West Ham have just signed Patson Daka. Joe Bowen has made a shot at the goal that
Oh, right.
it gets worse every time I see it.
Oh my god! I thought you were going to say we swapped it for James Ward-Prowse. He's been frozen out. I might take that in the current situation.
Well, yes,
we need a box to box.
But it literally was Daka-esque that by Bowen. I mean, he didn't even get it near the goal. It was high, but it was wide as well.
Oh, God.
Birmingham. For a few weeks now, there's been this rumor about will they stick with the manager or not. I think, what do they expect? They've got ambitious owners, of course they have. And I wouldn't necessarily say Birmingham were a sleeping giant because they've never been particularly big. I'm going to upset a lot of Birmingham fans here and say they are the second team in Birmingham. On over time. I think they are. I think Aston Villa are the bigger club and they have won more in their history than Birmingham have. And that's no disrespect to Birmingham. It's just a fact, I believe, for me. But it's the second town. It's after London in the country. Manchester might have something to say about that, but it is recognised as the second town. They want to be up there. They've got ambitious owners. They've got the money behind them now. Going up, and then going up again. All I'll say, Birmingham fans and the owners, is just look at Ipswich. How did it work out for them?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes in life you might want to run, but if you're coming out of rehab, you might want to be able to walk first, right? It's very true. I mean, there's a great Amazon documentary on Birmingham. I'm not sure you watched it yet, Chris, but it's on Amazon. Jim pointed me in that direction. I watched it all the other day. And I think, bear in mind, they appointed Rooney and made an absolute clanger in the first episode of that documentary and learned their mistakes quite quickly. I think they're going to stick with Davies a bit longer yet, because I think the principles of what he was saying in the post-match matches up with the owner's vision. And I think... But ultimately, he has got to get them towards the playoffs, hasn't he? So how long he does get, it's that balance of the two, isn't it? But I think they get on with him. They quite like him. And I think that's an important thing for the leadership there at Birmingham. So
I think, and this will lead me very nicely into the next game, I think it all depends where Wrexham finish. Because you've got Birmingham and you've got Wrexham. And Wrexham are on pretty much the same trajectory. They've also pretty much, got new owners, got people in that are going to be, got money to spend, rich owners. Obviously, they've had the documentaries as well. Come on, Amazon, give us the Leicester one, where we might actually know what's going on.
We filmed this Fatawu one, and it makes me wonder, did we film it to try and sell it, and we haven't been able to sell it, which kind of makes us look really silly, because obviously now we're trying to put it around the club, and everyone's going, why have you made this documentary about an injury?
Yeah, I haven't even watched it.
I'm not going to. No, I think it's dark.
I was like, what's the point? But, yeah, I think, Birmingham were first last season, Wrexham was seventh. I think if Wrexham finish seventh, let's say, and Birmingham finish 12th at the end of the season, if he's not gone, then he may go, because I think that's maybe what they're judging it by. Yeah. At the moment, Birmingham are 2 points and 1 place above Wrexham. They're in 17th. Predicted at the end of the season, Birmingham, because a lot of people had them down as favourites to go straight back up.
Me too.
Opta has got them finishing in 16th.
Yeah. And I can see that. Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is I think they've still got 10 million quid to spend in January.
And Hull, they've got in 12th.
Yeah, which is interesting because I had Hull to go down. I think all of us are looking at the behind the scenes stuff with Hull, just to finish off with them. But then we got to appreciate, I think their manager has made some very good sneaky transfer moves. I think actually at the end of this season, we'll be talking about McBurney being the signing of the season on a free transfer. And he looks like he's going to be top goal scorer as well, and a team that's currently mid-table. So he is making a massive difference for them. And even Chris Wilder mentioned about it with Sheffield United, how what good of a signing it was for Hull, and how he wished he had him at Sheffield United.
Moving on, we were talking Wrexham. Stoke back to winning ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, for Stoke, it was a scrappy game this year. I mean, Stoke has started to drop off a little bit in the last few games. You start to think has a little bit of shine wore off there. But then Sorba Thomas turned up again. He might be one of the most underrated players in the Championship because in a league of fine margins, you need players like a Fatawu, right? Who might come up and get a goal for you. And Sorba Thomas is their Fatawu. He is the guy that will come inside and score a hell of a goal out of nowhere and make them win a game they probably should be getting a point from. So, scrappy game. I mean, but Stoke will take the 3 points. But I think Wrexham will look at that and go, they're not taking their chances well enough. You know, and they've got a different system and a different idea, but they have spent 20 million quid this summer. And I think there's more pressure on Parkinson right now than there probably is on Davis at Birmingham because they need to be high up the table now, Chris.
Yes, yes. I mean, Stoke are sat in third. Obviously, we placed us in third, and they've been in the top two earlier in the season. But it's like I said, Wrexham 1 place below Birmingham in 18th. But again, for Birmingham and for Wrexham, if either of those two teams finish there in their first season back in the Championship, a long time for Wrexham, I don't think they've had bad seasons.
No, I don't as well. But I think that both these sets of owners. By the way, Chris, Wayne made a good point here. Imagine if we'd signed. Hang
on. Wayne made a good point.
Yeah, get the in-betweeners football friends thing out. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Chris, go on Transfer Market and see what McBurney's being paid at Hull and see if it's worth, what his wages. Go on, open a window and have a look at it. And I'll quickly talk about why you're doing that, about this with Wrexham. I think the thing with Wrexham is if they don't...
What, Chris, why are you laughing for? Why are you laughing for?
I'm laughing because you two are having a loving.
But no, he's got a point because what have Leicester fans been moaning about? Like how we haven't got a striker that scores a goal. And McBurney's coming. He's going to be top goal scorer of the Championship, the rate he's going at the minute. And he was on a free transfer. So why didn't we look at him when he was available? What is wrong with our scouting? So see what wage he's on. If he's on like 20 grand a week, wouldn't you pay 20 grand a week for McBurney?
What team's he at, sorry?
Hull City.
Oh, he is at Hull. I've got, yes. Hull
yeah.
Here. Right, let me find McBurney.
McBurney, striker. Yeah, have a look. Because I said this about Vardy, and I remember Brad and me had a bit of a ding dong about this. But I said he only wants 25 grand a week, and Brad was like, "No, he wants a lot more than that." And he signed for that club for 25 grand a week, and I was like, "For that money, we might as well keep him because of the leadership as well." I mean, it's not 100, is it? I mean,
no, he's not actually down on here. How do you spell his name?
McBurnie. Because I think that's an interesting one to look at. But going quickly back to Wrexham, where you have a look at to finish this game off, I think like Wrexham aren't taking their chances well enough. I think the jury is out. And I think the way they're going, Chris, they might end up getting relegated. I'll put a big bold statement here because they might keep slipping down unless they pick themselves up a little bit. Maybe stop playing Danny Ward and Cody. I know Ward's not been playing, but it's a Leicester banter, isn't it?
Yeah. How long's he been at Hull City? He's been there a few years, hasn't he?
No. He was signed late in the transfer window, maybe even post the deadline day, Chris. He was signed as a free transfer, I believe, at the end of August.
Right, it's got here that he's been... I'm just looking into it in a bit more detail. Oh, Las Palmas he came from.
That's right, yeah.
Sorry, it's very misleading because Google have got him as Hull City. According to this, and we'll just see if it gives any more information on here, on his earning. No, all notes agree. His base wages are 25 grand a week.
Yeah, that's what I've just seen as well, yeah.
And his bonuses are 6,250. So he's on 31.2 grand a week.
And what's Patson Daka on? 60?
Oh, well, let's not even go there. Yes, but we'd got back. Patson Dackert was signed to us, and we couldn't. Nobody's coming to buy him.
No, that's very true. But my point
yeah.
is that what is our scouting going on? Because we are skint right now, and I'm sorry to bring us back to Leicester during a review show. My point, I was saying this to Wayne earlier and Jim. I was like, we need to look at free transfers because we haven't got any money. Let's be frank. We're going to have to sell players to meet PSR
No,
obligations.
we'll come on to Leicester because
Oh yes, of course.
we did discuss this earlier on the review show, and I'll tell you what we kind of discussed and what have you.
Okay, yeah.
But predicted for the end of the season, Wrexham to finish 19th. Stoke predicted to finish 8th of all places.
I think that's about right, Chris. I think they will drop off because they only score a maximum of 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Yeah, all the West Ham fans are leaving again. They do like to leave, don't they, West Ham fans?
I'm surprised they turned up. That stadium's horrible.
Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday, look, we all want them to do well, and they can't. Charlton, they've had a good start, let's be honest. So, everyone, a lot of pundits' favourites to go down, including me, but I do like something about Charlton. I don't know what it is. I love Charlton. And they managed to get the win here. And to be honest with you, look, Sheffield Wednesday, we know they're struggling. They've now dropped to bottom in the league. But they are going to cause teams problems. They are going to pick up the odd win. And we struggled to beat them, let's be honest with you. And so fair play to Charlton for this one.
Yeah, do you see the goal from Carey as well? It was unbelievable. Oh, I'm pretty sure he scored from like 40 yards or something. I might be wrong, maybe in a dream in my head, but it was an unbelievable goal. But here's what Charlton are doing well, Chris, and this is what I think about other teams as well, like Preston. Charlton know they can't compete against teams playing 4-2-3-1, so they play 2 up top. And they play a certain style of football, right? And it's working for them, and it makes them superb at home. They've now won 15 of their last 19 home games.
Wow.
Which is amazing when you think about it. I know it goes into League One as well, of course, but bear in mind that was a run to get them from mid-table into the playoffs. I think they've got an identity about them. They've got a confidence about them, and it's pretty unshakable. And actually, for all we say about Sheffield Wednesday, the resilience they're showing right now for the situation they're living in is remarkable. And we'll say it every week, won't we? I think they're doing a superb job, especially to come back here. And they probably could have nicked a point from this at the end against a team which is very competent now and is definitely overperforming in some imagination. But no, it's a great result for Charlton and also a great performance for Sheffield Wednesday. But Charlton really are showing other teams up a little bit here.
Yes, I mean, especially the 2 that they came up with, because Charlton were the playoff winners. Everybody thinks, well, they're going to be the 3rd out of the, look at Sunderland in the Premier League. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Charlton are sat in 9th, 4-3-3 with the wins, draws, and losses, way above Birmingham and who was the other one? Wrexham in 17th and 18th. Yeah. Fair play to them. I really want to know. They got Charlton to finish 14th, the prediction. Now, if Charlton finish 14th, I think that if you said to them now, you're going to finish 14th, they would bite your hand off.
Yeah, I think out of all the teams in the Championship, I look at Charlton as the one that even if they came 14th this year, I wouldn't write them off next year because I think they probably do better. They seem to be on such a positive path right now. But also, if they're in 9th with 6 games to go again for the end of the season, there's something about them, isn't there? There's something about the crowd right now. I mean, they've had some really hard years. And I think when you've gone through that as a fan base, I think then you're a very, very difficult team to come up against, whoever you are. So, credit to them. They're superb right now. They've really impressed me.
So predicted to 14th.
I guess Sheffield Wednesday is 24th.
Yeah, I'm going to say no points for predicting that one. So the team that was bottom, but aren't anymore because the Lord Jesus Christ has returned to Sheffield United, beating Watford 1-0. I had this one down as a Sheffield United. I had this as a Watford win because I went for Sheffield United last week because of the manager, and they didn't do it. Sheffield United, they're still in the bottom Two wins, 8 losses. Their goal difference is massive. It's -12. Wednesday's -13. Watford mid-table. Was this a surprise?
I don't think so, apart from maybe the new manager bounce on Watford, which might have led into your win theory, right? But I think the interesting thing is how Chris
Well,
Wilder.
again, that's every week with Watford, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, next week they'll probably have Nigel Pearson back. It's usually the rounds,
Yes.
don't they? But it's interesting how, like this week, Chris Wilder went out and signed Yara Riedewald. He obviously is an ex-Crystal Palace midfielder defender. Signed him on a free transfer, and it also shows me how much did Sheffield United cock it up in 2 weeks over the summer, 3 weeks over the summer, because they completely derailed what Team Wilder had to the point where he's now going, I need to sign 3 transfers now outside the transfer window to try and give us a chance of getting us out of where we are, which I find remarkable, Chris. I mean, it just shows you, like, we go back to Forest again quickly. One mistake can cost you a lot in football, can't it? There is no time to make these mistakes. So, so I think they'll be delighted with that because it wasn't particularly a great performance either. But I think at least for the first time under Wilder, they ground out a win, which is what they've been looking to do for a few weeks now.
Indeed. Predictions at the end of the season: Watford to be finishing in 18th, and Sheffield United predicted to finish in 17th. So we're not going to see another Wilder miracle where they go from bottom up into the playoffs. But you know, I think the problems are worse this time. But yeah, I think again, if you gave Sheffield United 17th with Wednesday getting relegated, that they would again bite your hand off.
Yeah.
Now Norwich, a bit of a enigma for me are Norwich at the moment. They're really struggling. They're sat down in 20th. They're playing Bristol City, or they lost to Bristol City, who are up into 7th. It just seems strange because Norwich, yes, I know under Daniel Farke they were up and down. But, you know, they've always sort of been there or thereabouts, but they seem to be really struggling this season.
Yeah, well, they've lost all 6 of their home games so far, haven't they? I don't think their away record's been that bad, actually. I think away from home, they've actually been pretty competent. They've got some decent points. But they're similar to Southampton, Chris. I look at their team on paper and go, that team on paper should be pushing the top 6. Really, for what players they got. And they're fine on possession with the ball. They get a lot of possession in their games. They just can't finish. They just can't score. And there's something really bizarre going on with that. I think they were so worried about losing Josh Sargent in the summer, and he stuck with them, and it's completely dried up, hasn't it? So, it's a bit of a worrying time there. And I don't normally like going down the route of it. They might need a new manager because I quite like giving managers time. But I kind of feel like they're the club out of anyone else in the championship right now that might go, we might need to make a quick change here.
Yes, yeah. Quite right as well. And Norwich are predicted to finish 20th. So pretty much where they are at the moment. Just avoiding the bottom 3. And who were they playing? So
Bristol City, yeah. I mean, Bristol City are very versatile, Chris, aren't they? I mean, they've got individually quality players like Twine, Mehmedi, who can just score from long range. I mean, keep an eye on Bristol City. I got them in the playoffs this year, and I think they've got a good manager, and I think they're well-rounded. And I also think perhaps their time's come. They've been a long time waiting, haven't they?
They have. And they're predicted to finish in 7th.
Yeah, I think they'll probably finish in the playoffs. I think their goalkeeper's very good as well. Don't underestimate. I think it's Vitek, isn't it? Ex-Man United goalkeeper. I think he's very underrated.
I'd love to see Bristol City do it, but unfortunately, I have a feeling if they do, it would be therefore at our expense, and I'm not sure. I wouldn't want that.
Understandably, they're the biggest city in England never to have a Premier League season.
They've had a top flight, they have, but it's not been Premier League, has it? Wow.
Yes, they're the biggest city by geography that has never played in the Premier League, yeah.
Wow. Well, look, Coventry, I have to say, on a personal level, look, we hate them because of the rivalry. But also, I love playing them because, I've got to say, for all those first 5 years in the Premier League, and that's not a derby game, you know. So I have to say, I love being in with Coventry, with Birmingham, with West Brom. I love these sort of games. And look, I know Brad is a Frank Lampard hater, along with Rooney and Gerrard and what have you. I have to say, fair play to you, Frank.
Yeah, the difference with Coventry versus everything else, the thing we moaned at about Leicester in the last game was what Coventry do well. They took the lead and then they scored a goal 2 minutes later. If you look at all their games throughout this season, when they score one, they generally don't score one. They then score 2 or 3 within 5 minutes afterwards or 10 minutes afterwards. Frank's got them in a position where they will get those goals when they're on top of their game and when they're having that little bit of a flurry, right? And the goals today in this game with Blackburn, Torp on 57 minutes and Thomas Asante on 59 minutes. 2-0, job done. You make your own luck, don't you, Chris? So I mean, they've earned it. I mean, I hate admitting this, but I can't see anyone else apart from Coventry winning it this year because there's no one else that's looked at me so far and gone, we've got anything better than that.
They are, like you say, to win anything, you've got to score goals. I mean, you've also got to not concede. I will give you that. But and I know they did get 7 in one game, but the 29 goals scored, 7 conceded, a plus 22 goal difference after 10 games is ridiculous. Not lost in the last 5. Sat at the top. They have only got, despite all that, they are only 1 point above Middlesbrough, who of course they replaced at the summit. I think those two could be the ones going down to the wire one way or the other. But they've got the 2 top goal scorers in the league so far. Haji Wright has got 8. Thomas Asante has got 6.
Yeah.
And just for you, Ollie McBurney's got 6 as well. So, and fair play. Blackburn Rovers, everybody knows my links with Blackburn Rovers. 22nd they're sat in. I am worried for them this season.
Well, I'm not worried yet. And I know that sounds a bit of a funny thing to say when they're 22nd because they're a bit of an enigma, like we used this word with a previous game, right? They lack a total 90 minutes, Chris. I think there's times I've seen Blackburn play this year, including in this game before they actually went 2-0 down, where actually they were in the game and actually put Coventry under a lot of pressure. Which shows they've got it in them, but for some reason they're not quite making it match for 90 minutes, and you're not quite sure what Blackburn's going to turn up on what day. However, in the Championship this year, that's enough to put you in danger. You're correct.
Having said that, they've got a game in hand, obviously, because of the controversial cancellation of the game. So that if they won that would take them up to 19. We think Ipswich should probably win that anyway. Their problem is they've only won 2 and drawn 1. They've lost 6. So that's where they're struggling. I worry for them. Wayne has said there, Lampard took them into the playoffs from 17th or so last season, continued this season. And I've got to say, does that not remind you of a certain Nigel Pearson at Leicester?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I must say, I wasn't far off Brad's statement about Lampard. I didn't rate Lampard in some ways. I kind of felt like he always gets off to a good start everywhere, and then it kind of goes south. So he hasn't gone south yet. So I kind of think it's this year, or if they end up in the Championship again next year, let's see what happens. Yeah.
In fairness, I had this as a 4-0 to Coventry. I thought they were going to...
which it could have been. It could have been. It could have been 4-0.
Yes. Yeah. I think we have got a second goal for Brentford in the 94th minute of a 4th minute of stoppage time. It was always coming, to be honest with you.
West Ham are going down, aren't they? They look like they're a right mess.
I think so. But again, look, this is only Nuno's second game in charge. So
I don't think it's down to the manager. I think the team's terrible.
Yeah, but the manager's not had a chance to do anything, has he?
True. Yeah.
Again, all I'll say is to the owners, but I'm just watching the goal here. I mean, where were the defence? I mean, it was a good shot, and it went past 5 defenders, but there was no defence there. And as they say, what's happening with defence? And I would say, the man with the hammer's coming in the morning to mend it. Anyway.
For a guy that's tired, that was a lot of words, mate. Well done. That was a bit of a mouthful.
Thank you. But yeah, it's all about how you react to the playoffs, isn't it? Look at the way Sheffield United have reacted.
Yeah.
and look at the way Coventry. Those are the two teams that got into the playoffs and both went out in the semis. Did they both go out in the semis? No.
Yeah, I think they did actually. Yeah, because Coventry lost to Did Coventry lose to Sunderland? No, Sheffield United lost in the final to Sunderland.
Yeah. So it's how, and and we'd got to the playoffs under Nigel Pearson, and hello.
Sorry, my light went out because I was sat in eternal darkness there, as if literally it went completely pitch black. I looked like something out of The Exorcist. It was horrible.
It went. Guys, if you're watching, just having a quick wank. That's what it was.
Well, I was standing up. You could definitely not see anything there, mate. My knob wasn't putting me offside. I'll put you that much. I'd have the big light on, but it's making the webcam do that thing where it goes washy. So I've got a spotlight on. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, it always goes this way. My shows. You don't get this on blue tinted glasses. I'll tell you.
It's late night. Tomorrow night's the professional show.
It is. It's the watch. I don't know. Do we have a professional show? But look, but no. Coventry have done what Leicester did, and that is, Lampard's gone out and gone, right, how are you going to let this affect you? And he did well at Derby. He lost in the playoffs with Derby. He did all right at Chelsea until he was allowed to buy players.
Yeah.
And I've never been anti-Lampard. I've been anti-Rooney as a manager, and I think Gerrard's a waste of everybody's oxygen as a manager. But I think Lampard's always been all right. Predictions for these one where they're going to end up at the end of the season. Well, look, Coventry predicted to finish first. Yeah, exactly. And Blackburn Rovers predicted to finish 21st. So just between Norwich and Oxford.
Just staying up sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. West Brom 2, Preston 1. I had this down as a 1-0 win to Preston.
I had 2-1 to Preston. I had 2-1 to Preston, mate. Me and you were both literally swinging for the stars, weren't we?
I mean, I don't know. I am dropping down like a bride's knickers on a wedding night. One few weeks ago, I was on the second half of the table, midway, and I am literally nearing the mid-table, mid-side on the right side of the table. I literally have no bloody idea when it comes to predicting. I got 1 point, I think, in the Super Six. I managed to get 3 points fairly in the Fry Trophy. Anyway, West Brom, they're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't they, in the playoffs?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, they're looking very good. I mean, in this game, the thing they've got, Chris, ironically, is both of the goals they scored in this game were long-range worldies. They seem to be very... If you look at like the one that Josh Marja missed against us, where it was 2 yards out, they can't hit the back of the net, from 2 yards, but they seem to be able to hit it for 25. So it's very bizarre, but a very intense game. There was 33 shots on goal in this game. Wow. Which is amazing when you think about it. So maybe me and you could have been right another day with Preston. I've always said this recently. My predictions are right, it's just for the wrong matches in the wrong order. Well,
basically, totally wrong then.
Yeah, well, exactly. But there's some sort of method to the chaos, right? But yeah, I mean, West Brom are looking very good, aren't they? Really, I mean, if they could add simpler goals to their game, which sounds a really weird thing to say, I think they'd be right up there with Coventry. I think they'd be winning by 3 or 4 every game. So, I mean, for their progressional standpoint, I think their fans should be very satisfied right now.
West Brom sat in 5th, Preston sat in 8th. Look, we always seem to know, don't we, with Preston, is that they can always have a good start.
Yeah.
And then around this time, 10 games in, they do tend to sort of start to lose it and drop down, which they, in fairness, they have done this year. They're sat in 8th. West Brom, they've won 5, but they've drawn 2, lost 3. Preston 4-4-2, funnily enough. Predictions at the end of the season. West Brom are predicted to finish 5th. And Preston
10th.
9th, actually, so near as damn it, yeah. Which is sort of again normally where they are. Okay. I thought that I was let off very, very easily on the post-match review after the watch along, because I was expecting another roasting the way of the Wrexham game, and you three guys kind of really held back on me. I was right up in the mood for a scrap, and you guys didn't turn up. I'm like, what the hell? Like you say, I still say, and I will state this, and I will stick at this, that it's still an improvement on where we've been.
I'd agree.
However, this is definitely 2 points thrown away.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, of course it is, because that was the best for the 45 minutes we had of our season in the first 45, wasn't it? And like, hey, look, you could argue, Chris, I should have been twice as angry as Wrexham, but I kind of felt like I'd shown myself up by not showing a bit more self-discipline. Because, but you know,
no. You know, look, like I say, this is what the crowd want.
Are you not entertained?
The views for the post match on the Wrexham, the actual section was higher than any time this season. You vent when you need to vent, mate.
No, I get that, Chris. But the thing is that I didn't feel it was appropriate in that situation, because I feel Wrexham's a different kettle of fish to Portsmouth. And I know you might go, well, is it really? But I think Wrexham were kind of a bit more scrappier, a little bit more less disciplined than Portsmouth. And I think that's what annoyed me more. The fact I felt they were really there for the taking. I think Portsmouth are very good at getting back and getting organised very quick. And I think that's what let Leicester off the hook a little bit for me here. But yeah, no, it still isn't particularly good enough. But I think the good thing about it is, and like, I'm very pragmatic about this now, because the more I've looked into FFP after what you've been telling me about points deduction and stuff like that, the more I've realised how much of a mess we are probably in. So it's that pragmatism of, okay, we are in a massive mess. We're currently in fourth place by some sort of, quite frankly, a little bit of a miracle, actually. But still being in fourth place where you're not performing your best and still opportunities to make it better. I think, you know, we saw that it was the lack of a 90-minute performance that let us down, wasn't it?
I don't think we've had a 90-minute performance.
No, exactly. And that's the problem, isn't it? I think we need to find that.
Even when we've won games, you know. Portsmouth, look, I don't think it was an awful lot different to West Ham, because this is only to Wrexham. Sorry, West Ham. What am I saying? To Wrexham, because this is only Portsmouth's second season in this league.
Yeah,
they've been a league team more recently, you know, than Wrexham. Although Wrexham obviously are working their way up, but I think it was very, very similar. And I'm not saying, hello, Dan's in. How you doing, Dan?
Right, mate.
Dan, the Burnley fan there. The result of my sperm donation.
Congratulations on your win at the weekend. That was a big win against Leeds, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, congratulations.
But it might be the last win they get all season, of course.
I hope not, but yeah. Well, my theory on Dyche going back to Burnley, if it goes south, now gone out the window because of Forest, hasn't it?
Exactly. But look, let's have a look at this, because, like I say, on the performance of the of who were playing pre-game, you can't say that these are games. Those are two games we should have won, because you know because of where we were coming from. Individually, I would still say, we are still a work in progress. We're not going to go from the shittest team in Premier League history almost to the best team ever in the Championship. But we should have won both of those games.
Yeah, and that's down to us, Chris. It is down to us, and it's down to the execute. But I don't think it's down to the manager. I know that we can argue, okay, that decision wasn't correct for the substitution, all the rest of it. I'd also say, like I said in the post-match the other night, he was managing players' legs. I mean, if Jordan James goes down for the season-ending injury now, we're going to be completely devastated, aren't we? because how much has he brought to the club so far? A massive amount. We have got to be pragmatic about that element of it. And I think Marty said it and I said it. So Marty is working the best of what is a bad bunch. I think some of the Leicester fans right now, with all due respect to them, I'm one of them, are getting a little bit trigger happy here with some of the negativity towards Marty, because I think Marty is making the best of a bad situation. I tell you what, if the board did react and sack him and we get someone else in, we could be in major, major trouble. Like we could be Forest, like with Ange. We could.
Yeah. I cannot believe that fans, are asking for him to go.
I can't either. It's daft.
You know, and I think it comes from some Leicester fans are turning into Manchester United fans.
There is an entitlement, Chris, isn't it? It's kind of like we're a Premier League club, and it's like, well, we're a Premier League club for a few years, but we haven't been in the past at times as well, and we're in a terrible state.
How many of the fans, younger fans, if you like, that support Man United, remember how awful they were before Fergie came in?
Exactly.
You know, now with Leicester, how many of our fans? How many years has it been? It's been 10 years since we won. 11 years since we won the Premier League. Yeah. So a lot of our teenage fans, if you like, won't remember how shit we were before that. You know,
exactly. And if we sacked Nigel Pearson during the Great Escape, you know, because we've been trigger happy because we weren't getting results, we never would have won the Premier League. You've got to think we're in a long term right now where the club is, and bear in mind we've got a lot of financial problems. We need to have a long term vision for this, and I think Marty is showing he's got a long term vision for the football club, irrelevant of how we're doing right now in this moment. And as long as we keep ourselves up and about there, we shouldn't be moaning.
Let's talk Jamie Vardy, because I was pretty much probably. I'm trying to remember. I think Brad was anti him staying, wasn't he? I don't think it would have happened because of the John Rudkin thing.
Politics. But I say politics. I don't say politics, I think politics is a fair way to describe it.
Yeah. Although we do know he didn't invite him down onto the pitch afterwards. Anyway, moving along. Allegedly.
We're a fan channel.
Yes, exactly. If he would, and Steve said this. I don't know if you were watching the review show earlier.
I saw a bit of it.
Yeah. The Leicester, when Marty came in, and I don't, when any manager takes over a club that is in as much trouble as we were, and let's be honest with you, 90% of managers come in because the predecessor's been sacked.
Yeah.
A few of them retire, etc., but most of them, it's because they've been sacked. First thing you're going to do, if you're taking over a shithole, is sort the defence out.
100%.
There is still a bit of work to do on the defence.
Yeah.
Like I said, the man with the hammer's coming in the morning. But it's better than it was. We have to say it's better than it was.
With the same personnel.
Yes, yeah. Midfield, probably that's the best part of our game. Strength-wise, we've got the good midfielders. Strikers, we're in up shit creek without a paddle, because Ayu's not a striker, Jacobo Reed's not a striker. They'll get the odd goal from midfield, but neither of them are strikers. So the strikers we've got are Jake Evans, which we've not seen hide the hair of. Although
just on a new deal.
Yeah, he just signed a new deal, and yet, what Steve was there was, we're signing all these players, and apart from Monga, they're all disappearing back into the under-21s. And to say, and I'm fed up with all these managers coming in and saying like, "Oh, I'm going to play the youth and I'm going to do this." Well, fucking play the youth then. But the other options we've got are Daka. Well, I say an option, and then you got Carranza, who was fucking awful.
Yeah, we got to give Carranza time, but I do get your point. He wasn't good so far.
He wasn't good. He had one shot. I don't, give him time, yes. And he was there because Daka had come back from Zambia, and Ayew had been in Ghana, and Jacobo Reed had been in Jamaica. But I'm sorry, as a striker, you've got to have more than one shot on target.
Yeah, true. I do agree with that.
Or not even on target, just more than one shot. Now, the thing that gets me is that I don't have any faith in this guy. I hope he proves me wrong. But the last time we bought an American in as a striker, we haven't seen hide nor hair of him. He spent more time at our sister club than he has at ours.
Apuku, yeah.
Yeah, he's now over down in Newport, where he's got a goal and an assist, but it's, in the fourth tier. Why are we buying, this striker that we've got in on loan with an option to buy was third fucking choice at his club in Holland. We shouldn't be, I know that we've not been able to sign players sort of, pay out cash, and we can't afford a 20 goal a season striker. But like you said, McBurney was a free.
Yeah, that was
there
a big
are options there, and we've gone for this Argentinian who, to be totally honest with you, he didn't even know. He might as well have not been on the pitch. When I heard Marty Cifuentes say, "No, it was like playing with 10 men," I thought he was referring to Carranza. All right, I'm being a little bit facetious there.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But as Steve said earlier, and I have to say I agree with him, had Vardy stayed, I think we'd have got more wins than draws.
100%, Chris. And I've been saying, and literally, do you know what, it's funny you bring this up because me and my friends, who I'm not going to mention because you do the football friends thing again, we're talking about this. But do you remember the heat I got, Chris, when I said he only wants 25 grand a week, we should keep it? Everyone was like, oh, no, we've got to move on. And I get the idea we need to move on in some ways, and so maybe to Jamie, but we've also talked about a lack of leadership in this team. I mean, if he could get us 10 goals this season, wouldn't that have been worth 25 grand a week?
Definitely.
Plus,
look, I'm big enough to say I didn't agree with it at the start, but I do agree with you now.
Yeah, I mean, because he's like Kevin Phillips to me. I mean, Kevin Phillips ended up playing till he was 40 and was at a decent level still. And Vardy didn't start playing professional football till he was in his mid-20s. So his body didn't have the abuse a lot of players have when they're 16, 17.
Yeah. Dan says Carranza sounds like the next variant.
Just to talk about Carranza quickly here. I mean, if you look at Southampton, they signed a player called Damien Downs for £10 million. He's a similar profile forward, and he's equally been as at the same level as Carranza so far. Pretty ineffective. I would say we didn't sign Carranza, and we haven't actually signed. He's on loan. We didn't sign Carranza as a complete player, guys. We have to appreciate this. We signed him for the attributes we think he has in him and his ability, his size. We haven't seen it yet, but it's been 2 games. I mean, we have got to back off a little bit because
it's been 3 if you take 2 where he came on and then that one. No, it's fair, it is only his 3rd game.
Yeah,
but
we've got to calm down a bit.
One shot.
Yeah.
Just go back and watch. Go back and watch the review show, because every review show we pick a player to sort of review his match. And I put up his heat map. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I've had electric blankets with better heat maps than that.
Yeah, but it's interesting, Chris, because then we had AU playing in that position who was everywhere, wasn't it? We still weren't scoring. So does that suggest to you it might not be entirely about whoever's playing there? Maybe it's slightly to do with how we play our football as well, in which case...
AU isn't an out-and-out striker, Carranza is.
No, not at all. But I've also said this about us. And like the thing with Carranza is we have to change how we use Fatawu and Mavididi or Monga, right? And I think the thing with Fatawu and Mavididi is when AU was playing, they were coming inside as inside forwards more. And that means they come in to be secondary strikers and score. If you're playing them as wingers, that's not their intention. They're meant to stay wide and cross balls in for Carranza. We didn't really see them playing directly as wingers. We saw a little bit of it now and again. And then actually we scored a goal from that position with Ramsey getting in there, didn't we? So he did contribute to a goal. He might not have gotten the end of it, but I also think he also drew players away to create the space for Ramsey. So we can't view it all about this one individual. I'm not overly defending him, but I also think if he's, new in the club and he's looking at the fans' reaction after 2 games, his head's going to drop, and he's starting to rebuild his confidence from last year. He hasn't played any football. So I think give him some more time yet, guys. I really do. And I think that might have made Daka's progress got even worse as well, for example.
Look, I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, I know I'm being overly positive here, but I'm trying to think, look, this is all we got to work with, guys.
Yeah.
And also Jake Evans. I love Jake Evans, but I don't think he's physical enough. I'm sorry. I don't think he is. As a one-man striker, I don't think he's going to be physical enough to do it.
I know he wasn't playing on his own; he was playing up front. But Lineker wasn't exactly the most, he was quite lightweight in a lot of ways. But he was just there. Anyway, but look, we'll see. My other point I want to make before we sort of round it up and go to your awards, and please, yes, yay! I hope you're keeping a note of who's getting it week by week.
It's buried on my phone somewhere. I didn't know you gave it to me last week. You have to tell me after the show.
Did I do a show last week?
Yeah, I think we improv with someone, didn't we? It might be. Was it Dan who did it? It was Ant. Ant did it. Ant did it.
No, Joe. It was Jack.
Jack did it. Sorry, Jack. On the final whistle. Thank you, Jack, for covering me.
I don't think we'd actually did it though. I don't think we did that bit. I'll go back and have a look. But before we get on to that, what I want to do is we know we've got PSR problems. We have sold £80 million worth of players, and I've got to say, well done, John Rudkin, for getting 80 million for those load of shit. But it is the best of a bad bunch.
It was good.
We haven't spent anything. This doesn't go into the current PSR bit that we are looking like we're being fined for. It's going to the next one. So if we spend 80 million, we might, let's say we've got 15 million. Surely out of that 80 million, we've got 15 million that we can maybe spend. Now, rather than buy 2 million on this player, 5 million on that player, go out in January. And I know it's not the best time to hit the transfer market, but go out in January and spend £50 million on a striker that can score a few goals for us. We're not going to find Messi for 15 million or the next Ronaldo, but I don't think we need to sign another defender. I don't think we need to sign another midfielder because, like I said before, I think we've done what we can with those. But those strikers we have at the club are fucking useless.
Well, it's interesting because I literally sent a message today, and I'll send you the message I sent to Jim and Wade. But I literally came up with formation. We don't need a striker.
I don't think we're Manchester City yet. I think we do need.
No, well, you say that, but actually, I think we could get away with it. And actually, I think that's a way around it. If the strikers aren't going to do it, then you don't play one. You play a different system. But no, let's get back to the main question. That's just me being quite, facetious, perhaps. But no, I disagree. I think the main thing we need to do is sign Jordan James. I think get him signed up as soon as possible. I think he's, was it £6 million?
I'm taking that's going to happen hopefully anyway.
Yeah, of course.
The striking position we're in, unless Carranza suddenly turns around and starts doing well, he isn't doing. Don't go out and buy 2 or 3 players. Go out and buy one player and make it a fairly decent striker.
I would go, let's try and loan someone who's out of favour somewhere else who we know is good, maybe lower league, Premier League player. And then I'd also think we should do in January is look around Europe and try and sign some players on pre-contract deals who are out of contract in the summer on free transfers, Chris.
Well, I'm not going to say.
Save some money.
I'm not going to overrule you.
No, please do. Please do.
Very unfair of me. But all I will say is,
your opinion is wrong.
because Steve and me agreed.
Go out. What if the striker for 15 million quid's useless? I mean, people moan about Patson Daka, what we spent 20 million pounds on him, and he's apparently been useless for 4 years. I mean, isn't the Daggers going to be out twice as bad? I think we need to be a little bit cautious, Chris. I don't think we're in a position now as a football club to spend 15 million pounds on one player if we want to or not.
That we won't know because of PSR, but
we should be careful.
We managed to sort out the defence with the players we've got, and they are playing better than they were last season. We've not been able to. We've sorted out the midfield with a couple of loanees coming in, and Dan, thank you very much for Ramsey. Please don't want him back at the end of the season. But we just haven't sorted the front out. All I will say is, Tom.
If you don't know the answer to that question, then I think you are an ostrich.
I certainly can't put my head in the sand, Chris. I'm not that flexible. Neither are you, my friend. Neither are you.
Here's the table. We're fourth. So, again, look, 10 games in, we're sat in fourth, only lost one game. We would have all taken that at the start.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look what Dan just said there. We just signed Brozier for 22 million. He's god awful.
Yeah, that's the risk you take, isn't it?
I'm going to stop now because we can go on this for hours. But fourth we take it, Chris.
We've named 3 strikers, I think, in this show that have none of them have proved the worth.
Would you take Vardy on loan in January if he's out of favour?
If he's on loan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the answer.
But is he going to be out of favour?
He's not really playing, is he?
And will he come back when because of the politics situation?
Well, well, that's true, isn't it? But he's still probably got a house.
I mean, Schmodic, he's not doing very well at Ipswich, is he?
No, the thing with the Championship, it's really weird, isn't it? Because the striker who was in favour last year will be out of favour this year. Look at Vipnik of Swansea.
How many of them that were scoring goals last year? I wanted to buy Schmodic, and he went to Ipswich from Blackburn. And, again, look at George Hurst. Everybody said, we should have held on to him. Yeah, he missed a bloody penalty. You know what I mean? It's a gamble. But look, Coventry top, Middlesbrough second, Stoke City third, Leicester City sat there in fourth, and we would all take that. Oh, look at that. We got the old Twitch wanker in again. Well done, sir. Well done. If anybody actually ever goes and tries to get one of those with extra viewers, you're paying a lot of money to be ripped off. So
never click those links, guys. Never click those links.
Unique carbohydrate, whatever you called. I can't get rid of you, but you'll be banned in a minute of coming back on. But I'm sure there'll be another worm stick its ugly head out the grass at some point. The bottom half. Let's have a look. Who's down there? 2 Sheffield clubs at the bottom. Sheffield United finally off the top. And then you've got Blackburn Rovers down there, Derby County down there, and I think apart from Sheffield United, I think you're looking there, those that I've named, Derby, Blackburn, Sheffield, you're looking at, they're all going to be in trouble, I think, at the end of the season.
Well, Chris, pick your 3 now. What is your 3 right now this moment who go down? I'll tell you mine.
Okay, Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, agreed.
Blackburn Rovers.
Disagree.
Dan will agree with me.
Yeah, of course he will.
Yeah. Blackburn Rovers, and I'm going to have to say Derby County.
I've got Derby. My third choice is Wrexham. I think they're going to fall down there.
I think they'll just survive.
I think they're going to work. I think they're not going to get it right. I think they're going to work themselves into a mess. They'll go down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very similar. Though.
Right. Yeah, indeed. Right, sir. I'm just going to go and kick this guy out. I can't get rid of his message, but I don't have any mods in that are on Twitch at the moment. So, but if I do that, it disappears off the screen. Hey, there you go. No, it doesn't. Is it still there?
It is still there. Yeah.
It is. Let's do that for now. Right, sir. It's your time. It is the performance of the week. I'm interested to see where you've gone with this one.
It was a difficult week, Chris, because I actually thought it was hard to pick one, really.
Yeah.
I've got 3 nominations for you, Chris, and obviously, as usual, you have the ability to completely poleaxe me and go for something completely left field if you so wish. Obviously, get it in the chat as well. We might be able to see it on screen, but Chris can obviously tell us as well. So my award nominations this week are for, firstly, Middlesbrough. I think for their character as well, because I think the win against Ipswich on a Friday night game at home, I think that is one, irrelevant where Ipswich are, that's a really difficult game, isn't it? And at the start of the game, missing the penalty, to then see the threat that they were facing when Ipswich were on top and to come around and still get the 3 points, give Middlesbrough a nomination for that one. Second one goes to Hull City. Obviously, because they beat Birmingham's unbeaten run at home since April 2024, a year and a half. And they've also been overperforming, for my mind, for many weeks. So well done to them. So Hull City. And the third choice is another away win, Millwall away at QPR, Chris. So their first away win of the season as well. So there you go. One of those 3. What do you think in the chat as well, guys? Hull City, Millwall or Middlesbrough for performance of the week?
You see, I can't go for Millwall.
No.
No, I just because it's Millwall.
We're a Leicester channel. We can have some bias here.
Yeah, we can totally. Hull, I do get where you're going from with that. They were against 10 men though. So
Well, yeah, they were. Hang on, let me check my records here. Hang on. When was the 10 men? 59 minutes. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah.
I'm going to throw another one into the pot here. I'm not saying this is the one I'm going for. I'm just saying this is the one that I am going to throw in for you, and that is Oxford United.
Okay. Well, see, I look at Oxford. I think they should be beating Derby at home if they're going to stay up. So, but I get
They
okay.
should be. They should be, but should be, would be, could be. You know, we should be top of the league according to the fans. So I am going to say for me, I mean, look, Dan's gone for Hull. What does he know? He's a Burnley fan, so you know they're the only fans I know that pay to go into a game and then turn their back on the game.
Man City do that with the Poznan.
Yeah, but that's celebrating, isn't it? Burnley did that because they wanted the manager out, or whoever it was, I think. But Raven give Coventry some credit. I can't give Coventry any credit because I had them to win 4-0 and they only won 2-0. So, again, that was expected. But I did give them credit with being top. Well done, guys. You've got rid of that message on the screen now. Well done. It's gone up. But for me, it's between Middlesbrough and Oxford.
Okay,
And
I'm happy with either.
You've got Middlesbrough, who are playing another team at the top that's difficult, and you've got Oxford, who are playing another team below, you know, at the bottom, which is hard. So it is between those two for me. I can see Wayne's gone for Middlesbrough. Woo, football friends.
We're going to have fun tomorrow night. Please make sure you join us for the watch long tomorrow, guys, as well, obviously.
Yes, yeah. No, I've got some new clips that you've seen. I didn't see the Oxford game against Derby.
Oxford were dominant, Chris. They were dominant, to be fair. They were very... I mean, Derby were terrible. Oxford should have won by 4-0.
In that Middlesbrough game, that first 20, 30 minutes, it was like I said earlier, it was like a game of chess. Yeah. It was boring. It was two good teams, in fairness, and credit to them, cancelling each other out. Then it went all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of game that you watch and go, that's a good advert for English football. Or like you made my mind up because if Dan's gone for Oxford, then I'm going to, obviously now I'm going to go for Middlesbrough.
Is that the final answer? No,
it's not the final answer. I'm going to phone a friend. I'm going to go for Oxford because
I'm happy.
Yeah. And I tell you the main reason was because it was early days, I know, but it was still a 6-pointer for them.
They had to win it, didn't they?
Yes,
I get that. Yeah, Middlesbrough didn't have to beat Ipswich, did they? Let's be frank.
No. And I'm sorry that it wasn't one that you picked.
No, I'm happy, Chris, because also I quite have a soft spot for Oxford. I'm happy to give it to them.
Yes, so add them onto your list, and we'll total up at the end of the season how many clubs have won it. But we don't have. They don't have one from last week. But I will double check that. But,
yeah, no worries, mate. We're never going to give it to Coventry. We weren't doing the show when they won 7-1, so...
Exactly. And Coventry is in the same bag as Millwall. Don't ever expect to get Coventry.
Oh, God, you wait till Millwall beat us 5-0. We're going to have to literally get out of that one.
Oh, they also have a lovely dictionary. Bloody hell, Dan. Right. You're from Burnley. I'm surprised you know what a dictionary is. It's the end, guys. We're going to move on. Tom, I'm going to have a chat with you afterwards. Yeah. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. Nice to see you again, Dan. Wayne's seen a bit as well. And like, share, subscribe. Those are the 3 things you have to do. But also, if you're listening via your favourite podcast player, follow us on there as well. Ask your Alexa or whichever one you have to play the podcast. And you do have to say play the podcast, Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for lending me your ears. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 o'clock for the watch-along. It's going to be, oh, God, I am worried. I have to say, I am worried.
It feels a big game, Chris, doesn't it?
It does. But anyway, I'll see you then, Tom. Thanks very much, mate. Thanks, everybody in the chat. And I will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.